Geez, that 4 hour grind was actually kind of nuts, not gonna lie. So, anyways, now I have possibly the most absolutely crazy part of this entire series ahead of me now. The 9 Year War. And here I'm stopping the use of, like, and here I'm not going to use individual. From here I'm stop. From here I will not use individual colors for countries. Instead, I'm going to color code them all. So, yeah. In case you're wondering about poor little Ruthenia there, yeah, that guy is just neutral. I called him Carpath. Call those guys the Carpathians. Nah, no. Stumbling over myself again. Of course, yeah, this is just the escalation of the entire thing. So, all of the unaligned polities in the world. I'm getting there soon enough. Oh yeah, because it's a Portuguese colony of Goa. Huh. You can really see the four sides, the world shaping up. See, and now a technocratic China front popping up. See, I remember those. See, I'm just. See, yeah. Just got everyone here. See, yeah. And now the war begins. And firstly, this communist Benelux kind of just gets steamrolled. I mean, to be fair, ugh, so do the technocrats of Poland and Romania. And also Carpathia's influence into becoming communist. So yeah, I decided to actually become productive like that again. See, and now for... Oh, that's a completely... Actually, no. Who am I kidding? That's not different in the slightest. See, and now... Now, of course, unfortunately, Siam and the United Indo-Chinese Federation were... oh no, were unlucky enough to get caught in a crossfire, but really there's nothing much anyone's doing about it. I mean, Carpathia was technically unaligned from the start. They weren't, in that alliance. See, yeah. Especially with the emergent front here. Heavy use of chemical weapons creates what is effectively a no-go zone. At around this area, leading to a giant, just absolute stalemate. Here. Oh, and also unfortunate. Yeah, these bio super weapons got eventually super weapon versions were used, which became extremely bad extremely quick, as the technocrats used it to basically salt Japan. See, eventually this entire Japanese front just folded in on itself. As, yeah, Japan basically got folded on two sides. However, there was one. See, unfortunately, these bio super weapons got used on Korea in an attempt to stall the front. However, that proved rather ineffective, as the technocrats were able to just take out the remaining bit of that, so... And also, yeah, Europe. Oh my god. Oh my god. See, and then the fascists just came absolutely rolling through. See, the front line. Yeah, Finland got invaded. So Finland joined the unaligned alliance. Essentially, the dudes that said no. To all three of these main ideologies. That's the questions of why can't I do this? Kind of just shut out. Oh, so yeah, it was barely close. Yeah, the unaligned got absolutely no diff in the north. But they managed to hold their own in the south. Whoops. See, Madagascar joins in. Spain joins the unaligned front. Thailand and Cambodia, or rather Siam and Cambodia, are basically pressured into joining anyways. Also the Philippines too. So yeah, man, no diffing the guys is hard. Eventually, yeah, all this. And then, uh-oh. Because the technocrats use their strongholds to invade basically most of the Americas. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part in the East. Let's just say, yeah, the technocrats have had an absolutely fantastic time in the Far East because Russia simply had too many. I guess the Soviet Union had too many fronts to defend at once or at the same time. So yeah, So yeah. And bio super these vile bio super weapons got used to finally fill out the rest of this front line here. Like, yeah. And unfortunately, yeah, the contamination spread has hit Switzerland. And overall, in Europe, the situation is just extremely distressing. Since I don't feel like microwing every other front here, this is probably. Yeah. Mhm. You know, I said that the line of movement is getting noticed in the north. Yeah, well, nobody expected it being this bad. And unfortunately, the technocrats managed to finally get footholds in places that uh, probably aren't that good. Get to get a foothold in. Because remember, these technocrats are religiously into science. I mean, their god is literally Henry Ford. Of course, since these bioweapons. So yeah, eventually the unaligned group manages to get their hands on this bioweapon, and it's not pretty. It is not pretty. They decide to annihilate most of. With it, they decide to essentially nastyify a lot of. I don't even know how to describe the absolute carnage going on here. Basically, they take out a lot of centers of power. Now, of course, these are, yeah, believe it or not, these are like even worse than the bioweapons used in like World War One. So, of course, yeah, this is just horrible. And then the technocrats, realizing they've lost their advantage, decide to actually push in, decide they need to take out the European front first. Where they basically operating from most to least concern is their order here. So yeah, of course this bioweapons retaliation is like crazy by now. It's like nuclear war but without nukes. And eventually the technocrats just invade Switzerland. Rather what remains. While fighting in Europe has mostly subsided due to most front, yeah, most of these fronts are surrounded on either side by just toxic hell. Yeah, you can tell like what's going on here. You know you're kind of screwed when your Lord and Savior is Henry Ford. Okay, not to go against Henry Ford or anything, but I'm saying this is literally Brave New World we're talking about, so maybe I do have a point here. See, yeah, the Albanians, Greeks, and Turks get basically crushed on all sides. I mean, because opening up two fronts in Europe wasn't enough. See, yeah, and this whole thing is just like an absolute slaughterhouse. Now that every side has those biochemical super weapons that I mentioned, it's just absolute carnage. They use these bioweapons to essentially put distance between each other. Plot twist, or actually, you know what? Spoiler alert, most of these fronts are going to end in just bioweapons getting absolutely unleashed. So yeah, this whole thing just oh, and about technocrats' progress in South America. Yeah, this is about it. For Central America, yep. No, and I forgot about Hawaii. It was already under technocratic control. Of course, we don't repeat. Of course, they don't repeat our mistakes by using those bioweapons in the forests of Vietnam. See, the whole world is being choked and reduced to ruins. Mhm. See, yeah, then stinky and more of this. The whole destroy everyone with bioweapons. Yeah, because it's Bangkok, Yangon, I think. This is Delhi. See, eventually, major cities start being hit. See, yeah, just so many people are dying. Eventually, Finland actually just switches sides. Now also, now every side has these bioweapons. Ireland just decides to join. Also, yeah, the bioweapon retaliation. It's just crazy. Yeah, because, like, eventually all the bioweapons spread does that. Yeah, it's just death, death, and more death. Probably the worst time to be alive. Now these bioweapons are just being used to deny the opposing side land. But they discovered dirty bombs and it's over. They actually discovered nuclear weapons, it would be so over. But thankfully they didn't, so actually I think this is even worse. Bro, this literally happened in World War One. See, the fascists convince Afghanistan to join, and then start rolling over the remaining unaligned and communist strongholds. However, they got extremely overstretched. And then the technocrats basically just washed over them like a wave. See, the first actual faction to fall here is unsurprisingly the unaligned faction. They weren't doing. Yeah, they kind of, had every disadvantage stacked against them. So it was only a matter of time. Something fishy's going on here. So yeah, eventually the great close in from the north. So yeah, eventually great close in from the north. Do you know that this is happening? Like, yeah, all the stuff with the smaller one brushes, that was like 2040. It was like 2055 at most. Because the rest of this is just, yeah, midway through. Uh-huh. So yeah, the subsequent like collapse of social order. Yeah, by 2058, it is just absolutely horrible. The technocrats are actually able to bypass this giant line. Oop. So yeah, eventually this ends with a rather predictable outcome. Unfortunately, it was technology and technology alone that allowed the technocrats to win the 9 Years' War. However, at a rather gargantuan cost. Yeah, this is gonna be an absolute mess. Like, a lot of this is gonna have to get cleaned up, like, real bad. Anyways, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you on the flip side.